Hi, I'm Major Sam, and you're listening to the House of Mario.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the House of Mario, episode 53, and we are the Nintendo Podcast, a part of the 8-Bit Collective. I'm your host, Drew Agnew, and this episode we talk to Major Sam. We have a great conversation about her journey into cosplay, the ups and downs of the Australian cosplay community, and some of the challenges associated with cosplaying, whether it be travelling or, getting the funds to make the costumes. There's a lot of aspects both Bryce and I didn't think about because, we're not cosplayers. But it was absolutely fantastic having Major Sam on, and I'm sure you'll enjoy our conversation. Anyway, without further ado, let's jump into it. Major Sam, thank you very much for joining us on the House of Mario.
Thank you for having me.
So, for those of you who don't know who you are, did you want to say a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I go by Major Sam. You can call me Sam if you like. I'm 27 years old, and I am from the Gold Coast in sunny Queensland. I've been cosplaying for, I've forgotten, a few years. I think 8 years now or something like that, so not too long compared to some other cosplayers. But yeah, I like fabricating costumes with fabrics and silks. I'm more of a sewing cosplayer, and I really like competing as well. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you start your journey through cosplay? Where were you at day one? What were you doing, obviously?
Yep.
And how did you break into what you're doing now?
Yep, so I was actually working in theatre and costume before I started cosplay. So I was working with costumes, actors, all that kind of thing, and I really enjoyed the costumes. But I guess I got a bit bitter that the actors got to wear all the stuff that I was working really hard on and not getting thanked for it. So I went to my first convention with my brother. It was a Brisbane Supernova, and I kind of knew people dressed up, but I didn't know how they dressed up and to what extent they did. I thought it was just kind of fun, kind of Halloween-y kind of thing. And then I went there and I realized that people went all out, and I'm like, that's my people. That's where I need to hang out with. And I thought, well, if I'm putting all this time into costumes to put on another actor, I can dress up as well, and it sort of tumbled from there. And the next convention I went to, I dressed up and went in the comp straight away, and it was horrible, and I didn't know what makeup was, I didn't know what a wig was, all this kind of thing. So I started at the very bottom, but I got so into it that within the next 2 or 3 years I was sort of...
So was it quite a process sort of learning all these things to progressing to where you are now?
I guess I'm learning new skills is my strength. So if I want to learn how to do like ribbon embroidery, give me a day, I can do it, that kind of thing. So I do enjoy learning, and for each costume I make, I go out of my way to find a new skill that I can attach to that, so I can say, okay, I learned to do this on this costume. So I think that's made me a great way to progress and get better, is by actually attaching a new skill to a new costume. Yeah.
So you've been a part of the cosplay community for 8 years now, you said.
Mm-hmm.
How's the community actually grown as you've gone along? Has it changed a lot, or is it sort of just kept the standard and gone up? Or
I think it's quite an emotional community, so we'll have big ups and big downs, but I think that because we're all so passionate, you're going to have that. Mm-hmm. When I first started out, it was kind of when Facebook was kind of a huge sort of deal, and numbers were important, and it was kind of quite easy to get a lot of attention, especially online and that kind of thing. And that was sort of... My hat just fell off. But that was the kind of thing. And then it kind of went to... kind of the international side of cosplay started happening around that time as well. So thanks to the internet and Facebook and your social media and all that kind of thing. So it broke out into a big time, and then it kind of had I feel like it dropped and kind of plateaued a little bit. People sort of didn't know what they wanted to do. I think in the past year or so, I think people are starting to figure out what's important to them in cosplay, and we've kind of like chilled out quite a lot. At least myself, I feel. I kind of know how to prioritize now and what I enjoy doing and what I feel is important and what's not. So, it's kind of an emotional roller coaster, I think, cosplay.
Do you feel like the community is stronger now? Like that, a lot of these...
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. I think because we had that time of social media being this huge thing, and now it's sort of dying down a little bit. I think we're going back to our roots and sort of what cosplay was more important. I think also quality's gone up as well, because for a while there was like, how many photos can I get in one convention? And now it's like, oh, I'd like to shoot with these 2 photographers and get 2 great photos.
Yeah.
So, and I think the quality, it's definitely quality over quantity these days. Yeah.
Absolutely. So what costumes are you showing off at 2018 AvCon this year?
Yeah, this year I am wearing my new Jessica Rabbit Ranger outfit that she wears in a cartoon for about 20 seconds. But it was like a fun, easy, cheap costume. I already had the wig, that kind of thing, and it's really fun to do. And then on Sunday I'm going to wear my Captain Amelia costume, which is a historical-based costume where I did all this embroidery and gold work. So I thought I'd wear something nice and fun and something that was a bit more to show off my skills as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I have looked through a bunch of your photos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really impressed with like the Victorian era sort of dresses and the admiral clothing and stuff like that. That's really awesome. What kind of issues do you go through when you're creating them type of things? Because they're obviously really detailed.
I think expense does add up, and I was extremely lucky that from a prize that I won at last year I was at San Diego Comic-Con and I won the Motion Pictures Guild Award, and it came with a voucher for a fabric in an amazing store in the US. So I managed to get fabric for both my historical Belle costume and my Captain Amelia on this one voucher, so I was really grateful about that. But if I didn't have that, it's very much a lot of saving. The Belle costume took 10 yards or meters of silk just to do that. So that's already a $600 sort of a costume on just fabric alone. So I think that is a kind of a block, a bit of a struggle. Also time. These costumes take a lot of time, and finding the patience and motivation as well. So if it's not one thing, it's another thing. So it's kind of this nice struggle the whole way through.
It's like a lot of hobbies, I guess, where it's time and money.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, just out of curiosity, what can we see from you in the near future? Are you attending any more conventions, or are you working on any particular costumes at the moment you want to sort of talk about? Yeah,
sure. Next year, I'm lucky enough to get married.
Nice.
So we're good.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And because of me and my fiance are both cosplayers and we're crazy Disney and Star Wars nuts, we're putting all our money towards the honeymoon rather than the wedding. So we're going to do a big sort of convention honeymoon. So it's not very relaxing, a honeymoon or anything. So next year I'm going to go to D23, which is the Disney convention, which is absolutely amazing. I went last year as well. And we're going to Dragon Con, which is this amazing US convention that's 5 hotels all attached to each other, and it goes 24 hours kind of thing, and it's all licensed.
Awesome.
So it's like a big party convention. It's also really heavy in cosplay and costumes. So for that one, I'm going to make the iconic My Fair Lady ascot dress from the 1964 film with Audrey Hepburn, which is she wears this massive hat and a white lace dress with these beautiful black velvet striped bows. So that's going to be a huge task because I'm going to make the lace myself to match it in the film. So that'll be kind of like another 1,000-hour dress kind of thing. But that's for Dragon Con. So I'm like, if I'm going to go to Dragon Con, I'm going to go big, and I'm going to go really, really hard. I just have to figure out how to get a half-meter hat to United States safely. That's all. So you got to think about these things now before I start making them.
That's a good question, actually. When you're going overseas and you have to pack luggage, you obviously have to be very careful with your costumes. What sort of precautions do you take when you do that type of thing?
It sort of depends on what costumes, and if I'm going to just sort of judge, I'll pack the costumes that I know I can kind of just throw in a suitcase, so I can take it out and be fine. I bought my historical Belle here to do a shoot on Monday, and I actually had to go off and take every single hand-stitch rose on, so I could actually pack it without crushing the roses, so when I have to take it out, I'll have to re-stitch all the roses back on. So it's kind of depends on that kind of dress I wouldn't take with me overseas, all that kind of thing. It's too much maintenance. So I do have my costumes that I can throw in a suitcase, and the ones that are difficult to pack, which I just kind of avoid taking with me. When I took my C2E2 costume, Julieta, the cab to take us to the airport was at 4 o'clock in the morning, and by 2 o'clock I hadn't packed in the morning. I thought the whole thing would fit in the suitcase, didn't. So we had this really crappy box that's not supposed to go in international travel. This is like a domestic shipping suburb over box. I had to put it all in there, tape it up. We hadn't slept that night at all. Cab towed up at 4 a.m. That was stressful because I had electronics in there as well. And then it was raining at Sydney Airport, so it got wet at Sydney Airport. We got to LAX, and there was no corners left on the box, and we had to go to Chicago. And it got there, and it was fine. But that was a big lesson for that one. So now whenever I have a big costume, the first thing I think about is how am I going to get it there. Yeah.
Whenever I go on an aeroplane, like everything apart from my jocks goes in my carry-on luggage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
When I took my Willie Scott dress, which was, I worked on it for 6 months, basically full-time, which is what I wore in San Diego, that was in my check. That was not leaving me at all, that kind of thing. So if I lose my undies, makeup, I can buy that. This dress I spent 6 months on, you can't buy this. It's coming with me on carry-on. Yeah.
Just like thinking about putting 1,000 hours into one thing, then having that not wrecked at the last minute.
Yeah. I think it'd be at a point where I wouldn't even cry because it's so emotional.
You'd just be lost.
Just devastated. Yeah, absolutely. So when I do go to Dragon Con, the dress will be with me. The hat, I don't know what I'm doing yet. So, I mean, I'm going to do it, but I might ship it beforehand, but then again, that's shipping. I don't know. You
might have to go over there 6 months before you start making it.
And make it there. Yeah. Oh, that would be lovely. But then I'm not made of money. No, unfortunately. I wish I was, but yeah.
We can relate.
Yeah, for sure. So for people that want to keep up with your work, where can they find you?
Yep, they can find me on Instagram at Miss Major Sam. You can find me there, and I'm on Twitter as well. I do have a Facebook, but I don't update it as much. So all the action is definitely on Instagram. And I'm kind of hoping to start a Twitch channel, possibly, in the future, which I'll definitely talk about on Instagram. But at the moment, it's depending on if my internet will handle it. So
I need that NBN.
Yeah, so, I'm not quite sure yet.
We just got it last year, and it's a life changer.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
I've never experienced anything so perfect as good internet.
Oh my god!
It's just so much better. I don't know how we were operating before.
Really?
I could only get ADSL 1 where I lived.
And then you went straight to
NBN. It was amazing.
That's amazing, because we did get the letter in our mail saying that it's coming, and I saw all these Telstra trucks on our street. I'm thinking, oh, what's this? What are they doing? And then they were in our complex. But ever since they've been, our internet's gone to shit. So I'm like, what have you done? What are you doing?
Just killed it.
So we'll see what happens with that. But I'm hoping I can do Twitch, yeah.
Very nice. Excellent. Right. Thank you for joining us, Major Sam.
Yeah, thank you.
We hope you have a wonderful time here in Adelaide and at AVCon 2018.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, thank you very much for listening to the House of Mario, episode 53. It was a great time talking to Major Sam. We can't thank her enough for coming on the podcast. And thank you very much to the organisers and the staff at AVCon for making all this happen, allowing us to speak to the guests. It was absolutely awesome. And a huge shout out to Brendan White and 8bit.net for hooking us up with these media passes. And even Brendan allowing us to use his own portable recorder that we used around the con. It was absolutely awesome. We can't thank you enough for that, guys. Giving us this opportunity to be able to talk to all 4 guests of the show was absolutely awesome. We cannot thank you enough. Next episode, we speak with voice actor Spike Spencer. He's been in hundreds of video games and anime, and I'm sure you're familiar with at least one of his roles. Until then, catch you later.